All right, well, conservative influencers who are arguing that absolutely Tyler Robinson did shoot Charlie Kirk. He was the dude. Well, they showed their cards on Friday when Andrew Wilson, a supposed libertarian, debated Candace Owens. Candace Owens is not the only person that's been questioning the government case, but she is now the archetype. If you can pin it all on her as a crazy person, you don't have to follow her line of questioning. Well, I very much appreciate her line of questioning, so we're going to follow this. So far, the debate has close to 5 million views on her platform alone and has generated massive buzz online. You can participate in that, so why do you come here to talk about it? Well, my opinion is that we are in a strange world right now where conservative influencers are offended by questioning government narratives. They are unbothered by inconsistencies and they are defending the government. Now, a little background, Andrew Wilson offered $300,000 to have this debate with Candace Owens. And he said he did it because he found her line of questioning offensive. He thought he needed to defend the widow, Erica Kirk, and TPS USA. Now, watch his opener because he specifically says, I am here and I'm happy to defend the state's case. He says that. I'm here to defend the state's case. And he wants to protect the right, he says, the conservative right. It's an odd flex for someone who's a self-professed libertarian to defend the government, but watch.
Regardless, we're both defending the claim. There's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson's overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like. But if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying.
Okay, his shrug just really killed me when I watched that. I was like, why are we here? If you're like, I just kind of think it's convincing. I just kind of like it. Now, when he was pushed on his confidence level on whether or not Tyler Robinson actually pulled the trigger and shot Charlie Kirk, he puts the likelihood at 75 to 85%. Watch.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
Okay, he must know that 25% doubt is a massive shadow of the doubt. You cannot convict someone on that. And yet he's here to defend the state's case. And again, he said himself, I'm happy to defend the state's case. But when pushed on it, he doesn't know the state's case. Now, here's a clip that's gone viral. We're going to watch it in its entirety. It's a little over 3 minutes, where he's asked, okay, but what are the claims that the state's making that are strong? And he can't name them. Watch.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should, like, right. Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really, hang on. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can't.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't have
Name
to put
'em.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so
Next.
just for people, no, don't. I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're
I'm
just going to
waiting.
recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
No,
people
I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You
He
just got
couldn't
it
list
sounds
one.
like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually
well,
am
I
under
got
no
one.
time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final,
the specific charges, though?
that is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being
No,
charged
no,
with
no.
it.
Just the charges and then 7?
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay, got it. So then he's being charged with murder. You just say aggravated murder. That's the distinction. You just want to.
It's a massive. It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
Massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling.
Okay, you can tell he's embarrassed, and his tactic to handle the embarrassment is to become a dick, which is understandable, if not odious. Now, another moment that really bothered me, and I'd like to share it, is the way they brought up clips to catch her, and then he says, well, I didn't prepare those clips. Watch.
I did it. He didn't have an answer. He was nervous. It was crazy. But he acknowledged it. He spoke to Erica immediately. Why did you speak to Erica immediately?
So do you believe that there was a shape charge that killed Charlie?
Hey, can I ask you why you keep starting clips mid-sentence?
Probably to get to where the clip is.
No, it doesn't seem that way because you can always start a clip at the beginning of a sentence. Like you're just it's completely out of context.
Wait,
But
I didn't
so
prepare the
in
clips, but
yeah, I think
I didn't.
like you
But
were
it's
kinda
fine
ready.
to ask it to back
Like
it up.
I said, this
Okay, I prepared all the clips that you just watched. It wasn't hard. I have QuickTime, and I did it because I owe my audience the courtesy of being prepared and familiar with the material. So how can you play these clips as gotchas and then distance yourself from the clips at the same time? I don't understand that. And yet, his conclusion at the end of all of this was this.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing.
Okay, it was him that had nothing. He didn't know the case. He didn't know the material he was using. So, okay. And yet, over the weekend, Wilson and his wife, Rachel, who has been on this show before, I quite liked her book. You may have seen that clip. They were victory lapping this on X by sharing these AI assessments. AI says that we won. AI News Desk. I didn't even know that's a thing. He says every AI source. Okay, that feels like gaslighting. Don't believe what you saw. Believe what AI says. So, okay, we brought Lionel from the Lionel Nation YouTube channel to talk about this. Now, Lionel, you have been solidly in the questions are good camp. Questions don't offend me. I wouldn't say you're a Candace simp. We've had lots of conversations about Candace in which you've been critical before. Now, though, they're saying, hey, you're a Candace. You're totally in the camp. You're a conspiracy theorist. I'm loving this. So your takeaway from this, and then let's get to the nitty gritty.
First of all, let me tell you that I'm so glad to be here and that I am going to start off by reading my opening statement because I am a master debater and I know exactly what I am doing. And that right off the bat, not even a second, he's reading. What is he, a groom at a bachelor party? I'd like to thank Grim and Maxine. First of all, I'm thinking, you're kidding me. Second question is, who in the hell is Pickles Wilson anyway? This is a guy who debates OnlyFans girls, who, by the way, drub him. I mean, emasculate him. Did you see that? I don't know if you can do this, when he talked to a young lady named Charlie, enemy Charlie, and she knew where this nerve was. Now, he's a master debater, okay? One of the best, a master senior rhetorician with no peer. Blood sports, no, the greatest, self-professed. And she sits there and she says, okay. And then he starts talking about his wife. Now, I personally think that's, for me, kind of off limits, but for whatever reason, now you think somebody who would know every debate, trick there is, how to bait the enemy, he lost it.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost. Then there was another, and by the way, not that OnlyFans women are stupid or something, but this isn't Meeting in the Minds. This isn't William F. Buckley. This isn't John Maynard Keynes. This isn't the Oxford debate. But the second time also, he is just clobbered. So for some reason, you got to handle it. Now, work with me on this, because you're a very intelligent woman. Why would somebody want to pay $300,000 to have your balls separated, handed you in a Ziploc bag, and for the rest of eternity, you sat there with your foot jiggling, nervous, schwitzing? I've seen hostage videos more at home. And he said nothing, didn't know the charges, and his whole premise is basically, I don't even know. But the first thing is, who is he? Okay. He doesn't understand. This is not a debate. This has nothing to do with it. Candace could absolutely destroy him, and a lot of other people too, regarding the facts of the case, regarding the facts as adduced. What the reason why they think he is a patsy. He never got into this. That's why these debates don't work. There's no such thing as it. Especially when I'm dealing with somebody who doesn't know. Look, I hate to do a side issue. Next month is going to be 25th anniversary of 9/11. And I have spent every day of my life, I think, since that event, reading and studying. I know it inside and out. And invariably, when somebody wants to, quote, debate me, I have to teach them what it's about. They have no idea what. So their incredulity is not because there's a gap in the evidence. They just don't know enough about it. Or I didn't know that. Or really? So this debate stuff, don't fall for that. These aren't debates. And by the way, for you to summon, let me remind you also, this genius pays $300K. First of all, if you think he's got $300K lying around the house, I got some property to sell. Now, I don't know where it came from. I don't know how this worked, but he basically went to Candace. She didn't go to him. Says, I want to debate you. I don't know why. I don't know what the purpose of it was, but he said, I'm going to do this. Paid her money and walked away. And by any metric that you can think of other than AI, and I've never used anybody who uses AI as a basis for some kind of a qualitative assessment. Yeah. But anyway, whatever. It was, they never even got to the facts of the case.
No, they didn't. Yes.
The real hero, PBD, like a potted plant. Did the old man, not splaining, but the
manspreading. Yeah.
With his leg. I mean, it was just, what is this? What is, and Candace, I thought, for somebody who was in advanced pregnancy, handled herself well. Had they wanted to talk about the case, she knows facts that I promise you, she went through a litany one time of things about Erica and her mother, Lori Franz, and others that I don't think Erica knew. Her capacity to just remember facts is without peer. Now, can you and I talk about this and just forget him for just a moment and why this is important? Yes. You know that I've been on with you and Clayton forever, and I've talked about a lot of stuff. Remember when Diddy, when nobody said, nobody.
Yeah. Yep. You were right about that.
But not only that, before I knew you, remember, it was the Casey Anthony case. Mm-hmm. And I infuriated people because I said they're going to acquit her because we don't know the cause of death. We don't even know if it was a homicide. Sure enough, that happened. During the George Zimmerman case against Trayvon Martin, I said, this is going to be a problem for the state. It's going to be an acquittal because of the stand your ground. I was called a racist. I'm not endorsing this. I'm talking about the facts of the case.
Yeah.
In this particular case, very, very simple. As to the facts, little background. There are 4 arenas of this. Think about it as a 3-ring circus. It's a 4-ring. The first is who done it. Who done it? Why did they do it? What's the reason? Was it Israel, CIA, Mossad? America, MAGA, who? French Foreign Legion, I don't know. Who did it? Why? How? That's the who done it. We need kind of like a JFK, Oliver Stone film or something. The second arena is the trial. Can they prove aggravated murder inter alia, among other things? And the answer to that is no.
Can you just take a little detour and explain her nuance about aggravated murder, please?
It's very, very simple. Aggravated murder means simply this. In order for you to claim the death penalty, there has to be a reason, not just that you shot somebody or killed somebody, but in this particular case, he put other people in harm's way and risked their life other than the, quote, intended victim. And that's a special circumstance which allows the death penalty to apply. That's why it's aggravated. That's why a lot of the times you saw some debates or some type of what am I trying to say? Some motions that people mistook as a defense conceding. And it was as far as that goes. They were arguing the death penalty. And they were saying, assuming that this occurred, certain cases, certain states have different factors. Sometimes murder, death penalty, capital murder, is if you kill a police officer or you kill a prison guard. In this particular case, their capital murder, in essence, is aggravated murder. It's because it involved threatening other people. That's all it meant. It's just murder one and death penalty. Call it what you want. Okay. But it's not regular murder. It's not regular murder where there's this is murder with the chance and possibility.
Right.
Yeah, but this is death. This is death penalty. This is death penalty murder, not just, anyway, that's all it was. That's all it was. Now, the first things first, let's get down to brass tacks. If right now, if for whatever reason, Natalie, you were a juror, and all of us were, and we were to go into the jury room and say, let's look at the evidence right now as is, because the evidence is closed. There's no new evidence. Mm-hmm. I mean, we may not have all the lab results in, but it's pretty much closed. They're going to say that we have a case involving a rifle, a Mauser 98 30-06, which purportedly was used, but the ATF report is that they cannot conclusively link the rifle to whatever the fragments found based upon the dissection of Charlie's neck or post-mortem or what have you, autopsy, necropsy, whatever it is. So this is a lint brush. This cannot be linked at all to the murder as well. This lint brush is as relevant to the death of Charlie Kirk as that rifle is, because the jury says, how did he kill? How did you prove beyond a reasonable doubt, state of Utah, that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie? Well, he had a gun with DNA on it. Did the gun kill him? Well, we don't know. That's not guilty. Let me ask you this. Let's assume there was a bazooka that was found with fingerprints all over it. A bazooka didn't shoot him either. What if you were charged with trafficking in cocaine, and I found bags and pounds of cocaine in your apartment, in your house, but the lab says, I'm not sure if this is cocaine. You're not guilty.
Yeah.
This is not guilty. In the courtroom, we're wasting our time. You can talk all day long about whether a 30-06 takes off the head. It doesn't matter. The second part of it is the alleged admissions. We'll get to the admissions if you want. That's a little bit more arcane, but those are the worst admissions ever. So, as far as that case goes, it's not guilty. But when you look even more, not only is it a bad case in terms of the connection of the evidence, we're not even sure whether this guy had anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
Because as Candace and her, by the way, and her legions and her brigades of crowdsourcers and sleuthing and online detectives, what they and others have been able to find, by the way, first time that I've ever seen this ever, OJ didn't have it, nothing where you have citizens, because Cash Patel.
Right? I think about this all the time. If only Michael Jackson. Yeah, all of it. Yeah, if only.
Or OJ or Cash Patel came in, flew in. I guess he's still chasing that cowgirl or whatever it is. He comes in, he says something, and he takes off. There has been absolutely no interest whatsoever on the part of DOJ, FBI, anybody. The prosecutor's office doesn't seem to be too crazy. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think the defense team would say to Candace and so many of other her loyal not followers. This isn't about Candace.
I really don't think it is. That bothers me because
it's about the facts of the case.
If you can make her an archetype, then any kind of association with her questions is politics by cooties. Oh, you're one of those. And then you don't have to answer for the questions.
Well, let me ask you something. You most probably, maybe, I don't want to speak for you, but you probably have some questions regarding the JFK assassination. Oh, so you're an Oliver Stoner?
In fact, I do. Yeah.
So,
why were those trees moved? Yes.
So you're an Oliver Stone fan?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Why Oliver Stone? Or you're a Dorothy Kilgallen fan? Or you're a Mark Lane fan? I was like, no, I'm not. Yeah. No.
Or a Timothy McVeigh fan, because I don't believe that.
No.
Yeah.
You're the fan of the person commenting on the case. McVeigh was the charge. What you're saying is,
I'm a fan of the officer who was suicided around the Timothy McVeigh case. So yes.
in the case of JFK, Oliver Stone would be Candace. Mark Lane, the original investigator, would be Candace. Dorothy Kilgallen, whom they offed, would be Candace. These are merely the journalists or the producers or film people who made the case popular. It's the facts of the case. There is no Candace. There's the facts of the case. And she's the only person willing to go through hour after hour, minute of grainy, granulated Loch Ness Monster, Rorschach test, these horrible things which they tell us. There are some, I don't want to mention their names, but there are some, look, Natalie, I don't know who these people are. And I don't want to say they were bought off, and I don't want to suggest they're paid, or I don't know this. But if you told me they were paid off, then I'd understand. But all of a sudden, one guy comes out, not going to mention his name, but he always looks like his goldfish died, or that he just soiled himself. And he always looks like he's about to cry. And he said, I was in court today, and I saw a 4K video of Tyler Robinson shooting him, and Natalie, you could see the atoms. You could see the perspiration, and I saw clear as day. Other people who happened to be there, sleuths as well, not Candace acolytes, but nonetheless said, wait a minute, I was there. Where is he? That film that you showed of this blob moving, that's what we saw. So somebody's lying. Yeah. Another thing I'm finding out is all of a sudden people, and I'm sorry, there's so many subtexts. Natalie, for the longest time, I lived in this world. There's the left and there's the right. There's the conservatives and there's the liberals, and maybe the libertarians who don't know what the hell they want to be when they grow up. But there was this group, okay. Ever since October the 7th of 2023 and the September the 10th of last year, all of a sudden people are bringing questions about Gaza, about the Middle East, about that used to be called, I used to think some of them were radical, libtard, whatever, these terrible names. Now I'm thinking, wait a minute. You're making a lot of sense. Yeah. And I have found that now we have these new people we have Tucker Carlson and MTG and Joe Kent and Joe Massey and Thomas Massey and all these new people, third parties. So left and right doesn't even make any sense anymore. We're getting back to common sense politics where we believe in fundamentals. Now, this is not about the conservatives are teaming up with the left. There is no left or right. What they're trying to say is this, and let me see if I can be as clear as possible. I'm not endorsing this. You're not endorsing this, but this is what people think it's about. There is a theory, a hypothesis, it's not going to be brought up in trial, but that this was based upon Charlie's sudden change of belief, either in supporting Israel, American Middle East policy, or in not supporting President Trump in war efforts or Iran or whatever it is. That has been posited. Not that that's true, but that's a hypothesis. Maybe that's the end. The famous Hampton's call in this last minute. Okay.
The text messages, right.
Okay, so that would be the argument, is that he ticked off the war group. The other narrative, let's say, no, again, I'm not saying this, but don't have you say those people are promoting the following. They're saying, no, the people who were behind this were the radical left. the Tyler Robinson Patsy story, where this guy one day said, "Doggone it, Luna, I've had enough," even though he never said anything. "I'm going to go kill this guy, this horrible man, Charlie Kirk, because he hates trans," even though he never said it. "And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to use a bezel or whatever, and I'm going to engrave bullets because I hate this guy," and never said it one time to his ostensible lover. It's the lefties. Right off the bat.
Can I just pause there and ask you about the new evidence that Andrew brought?
Yeah,
that there
I was just going to
say
say that.
A text in the previous. So what he said, I have a text he sent the day before he died that said, "Remember, I'm afraid of lefties. They might kill me, and you're only here to protect me." Okay, that's really not evidence at all. That's a sentiment that Charlie had.
But some people said, "How did you get that?" I don't know the context of that. There was an immediate, I don't want to say the word meme or whatever, but it's going around of Erica saying exactly the opposite. No, it wasn't the left. Right. So let me see if I can wrap this up. The two sides are, did the left and the fuzzies and whoever these people are and the trannies and the lefties, did they kill him? Or did the, if you can use this, the right-wing military-industrial complex, warmongering, pro-BB, pro-Trump, did they do it? So it's left or right. So here we have, not that I'm saying this, but some people say they bring in this shill, this jadrul by the name of Pickles Wilson, and they hope somehow, through some miracle, he is going to redirect the focus and have people say, "Hey, you're right. He's right. It is the left. Sorry, President Trump. Sorry, military-industrial complex. Sorry, war effort. We had it all wrong." No, Candace is wrong, because Candace said her thoughts were, no, my money's on. And let me also say something. Unequivocally, 100% without exception, at no time, at no instance, at no second, at no portion of her show, and I know what I'm talking about, did she ever say Erica Kirk did it, TPUSA did it, or anybody did it? All she's doing is saying, these are people that I suspect, that I want you to look at, whose behavior does not comport with that of rational people, that I want you to look, who did have a benefit, who did qui bono, qui prodest, who benefited. That's all. But the meme, the narrative has been, no, you went after and you attacked this widow, as a great Dana Lash would say. She's a widow. Even though most of us, and I can't speak for you, but most of us didn't know who the hell Erica Kirk was until two things. One, when she lay atop we believe to be the dead body, the corpse of her husband, mic'd up so she could say, "I love you," and put this out, which people thought was beyond tacky, beyond moribund and horrible. And the second thing she did was 6 days after having this pep talk about selling merch in this perky whatever. That's when people said, "Oh my God," followed by the sequin pants, and all that stuff. Now, yeah. But at no time did anybody say, and therefore she did it. Nobody's saying that. But Natalie, we all grieve in different ways. And so what happened was they got together and they said, "All right, folks, when you go out there and you go on these shows, you make sure our theme is that Candace is saying she killed him, Candace is blaming TPUSA, and that we're mocking this widow. And we said, but nobody said that. So that was that. So then, all of a sudden, people, not going to mention names, but I thought were really astute. Many of them lawyers, many of them who have studied how people have been set up. Lee Harvey Oswald, Sirhan, just go down the list. Vietnam, Watergate, one government lie after another, 9/11. All of a sudden, it's like et tu, Brute, but whoever your name is now, all of a sudden they're saying Candace Owens is not only wrong, evil, satanic, crazy, psychopathic. And I said, wait a minute. Did they get to you too? It's like they were bit by this werewolf, this lycanthropy, and all of a sudden they're showing the signs of this infection.
Right.
What happened?
One of the things, I just, if I may, he kept pushing her and saying, "Do you think Erica's complicit?" And then he would play clips of her saying she's complicit. Now, she doesn't say in his death. And then he pushes her, and I had the benefit of not being nervous I was watching it from home, so I wanted to chime in and say, complicit in some kind of narrative diversion.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what she's implying, but she wasn't able to say that because he kept bullying her and then implying that she meant Erica had somehow been involved in the murder, which we don't know. It's an important question to ask. And then he says, well, you don't know if she's been investigated or not. You don't know if she's been interviewed. And so you shouldn't say it if you don't know it. Well, that's dumb. I can say that that's not even a point. What do you make of that non-point?
What about the time he wasted? How about the time he says, what about the fact that you said there was a receipt, the receipt for the steakhouse? Like, who the hell cares? And she was like, well, how do you know that? And Candace says, I talked to the owner. But I talked to the owner.
Still being reported. So she's saying, I'm still looking into that. That's still unfolding, I think. So he's saying, but that's evidence you haven't proven, so don't follow it.
No, it's even easier than that. He doesn't know anything. He threw it out. First of all, he's running out the clock, but it was so sad. Go back and watch this. Well, how do you know that? I talked to the owner. Are you sure it was him? Yes. How do you know? I've got the receipt. Literally say, why are we going there? That was a fragment. That was a tile in the mosaic of this. You're wasting our time with this. You're wasting our time. And if you go through this, and when he says the best of the best, somewhere, I don't know who, the meeting room they're saying no. They said, what do you put? And PBD, the only good question he had was, what percentage do you have? 75%? That's not guilty. What do you mean 75%?
Yeah.
There isn't. Can you imagine having a home pregnancy test or breaks that work 75%? You're here for 75. Well, let's talk about the 25%.
Right.
That's 9 out of 12 jurors. That's 9 out of 12 jurors. That's not good enough.
Well, that might be okay for a civil, not in criminal, because that's called a hung jury. But he obviously didn't know, and what he did was he labored under this. You see, Natali, I am so incredible in my ability as a rhetorician. I'm so skilled. And you've heard him, and I never really knew kind of who he was until later on. I said, he really thinks this. He's imbued, blessed, granted, touched by some type of preternatural ability to speak, so that when he does, his clarity, his limpidity, his pellucidity just laser slices through this, and people just freeze because they were in the presence of this Socrates or whatever it is. I kept thinking, who is this guy? Now, let's talk about this.
Well, actually, this is a good time to take a break because I do want to talk about who are these people teaming up online to bully anyone who asks questions and treat them like, who is this team? Because you've been called out for it. I want to talk about how Viva Fry now wants to go rounds with you. Why?
Guy.
Who the hell? Okay. So let me just take a quick break. And I will say to my audience, Lionel's been called out on the debate stage and he didn't even know. And I said, can I ask you about this? He goes, this is news to me. I'm like, oh. You're being called down to the floor, sir. So just a second before you react to that. Okay, we want to tell you about the absorption company because everyone's talking about GLP-1s, but not everyone is down with them. They don't want injections. There are very unpleasant side effects, enormous monthly bill. So we want to tell you about the absorption company's WLP-1. It's a daily supplement designed to support your body's natural GLP-1 activity, helping with appetite control, cravings, satiety, and satiety didn't come out nice from my mouth, and metabolism. Now, this is not a prescription GLP-1 medication. It's a different approach to weight management, made with ingredients designed to help your body feel full and support thermogenesis without going to extremes. So check it out for yourself. Go to absorbmore.com and enter the code REDACTEDNEWS at checkout for up to 35% off your first order. That's absorbmore.com. The promo code is Redacted News. Now, we also want to tell you about Bright Core Nutrition. Did you know that the U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years old in 2014, and global life expectancy continues to decline because people are aging faster, largely due to more toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil and food, and other external factors. But what most people don't know is we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. And scientists have shown that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells, helping protect them and delay aging at a cellular level. Now, you can get the benefits of this if you don't know how to add kimchi into your daily diet by using Kimchi One. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support digestion, your metabolism, skin health, all from the inside out. So check them out for yourself. Go to mybrightcore.com/redacted. If you use the code redacted, you get 25% off, or you can call the number on your screen. It's 888-404-6312. Or again, check them out, mybrightcore.com/redacted, and the code is redacted. Okay, before the break, we were talking about this group of influencers who you probably see in your X feed who are saying, absolutely, Tyler Kirk is the guy. Yes, don't ask questions. Candace is odious. We hate her. And we are convinced. Now, who are these people? They are people that I have respected in the past, their point of view on things, and now I'm perplexed by them. Lionel, you've been taken on by them. Here is a tweet from Viva Fry, who's been on this show, saying, these people won't debate me. I invited them, so Lionel, this puts you in the camp of Candace and Ian and then versus them. What do you make of this group? Why are they doing this? And, what is your response, sir? You've been slapped in the face with a glove.
Well, first of all, when you texted me today, I said, news to me. I didn't know anything about this. And I'm one of those few people on X or whatever. Anybody can contact me or whatever. Yeah, okay. So I didn't know that. Number two, how do I say this? But who are you? Why do I have to answer you? What is this? I've been summoned? You've challenged me? Great. These things are the worst. They're stupid. These debates, they're not even debates. What's the point? Then you get another guy calling up and you wonder, I'm not in control. I don't know where we're going to go. They sandbag. It's a waste of time. I mean, I hate to say it, but they're lousy. Haven't you done this before? Have you ever been in a panel or something where you realize, I'm never going to do this again? I'm not even going to go into it, but I have made... I can't tell you the times when I've gone up to, I think, causes. There have been causes for events that I believe in. I'm not going to mention the event because the cause is going to, but I all of a sudden say, who the hell are these people? Oh, they're participants. Like, I don't even want to be a part of this. Not only that, it just, I don't know where this debate, I recently saw something, don't ask me how, but in this feed, it was some event where there's somebody like Tim Pool or somebody, he sits and he's surrounded by all these people. Looks like some kind of a weird, like a Kubrick eyes wide shut rehearsal, a table read or something, and they're yelling at each other. I think this is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'm not interested. I don't understand this. What I'm trying to say is, I've never, first of all, let me go back to what I said. If you think there's no evidence, that's fine. Let's talk about this. If you want to talk about Candace being crazy, that's fine, your opinion. But don't argue the facts of the Tyler Robinson case by telling me Candace is crazy. They have nothing to do with each other. Like I said before.
That's a good point.
If you don't think that, if you think rather, or don't think, whatever, in the conspiracy theories regarding JFK, don't blame Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone is merely commenting on what, like Candace is. He's not the Warren Commission. The two have nothing. We didn't see this then. Now, either because of her powerful personality, the fact that somebody wants to knock her off her perch, she has become the issue, not the fact that you've got no weapon, you've got the most preposterous of spots. Just go through, for example, she doesn't say this, the evidence says this. When she gives you a timeline and shows where he was like traveling almost 21 hours that day with no sleep, and he stopped every 2 hours. He's eating here. The facts, the timeline as adduced are it's so ridiculous. No jury's going to even believe this. It doesn't make any sense. And that's not her saying this, making this up. That's her repeating what others have said. Were it not for her and her platform, we would have never known about this. So this is somehow transformed into her. And I don't understand this. Maybe it's because she's so powerful. Maybe it's I don't know. But it's gotten to the point where she's psychotic, she's crazy, and yet what they've done is, you know, they say you only take flack when you're over the target. She has inadvertently done more to cause more people, first of all, to look at the facts of the case, and other people to change their minds and say they are hiding something, because they keep sending these bevy of naysayers. Nobody will ever say to her, listen, Candace, you're wrong about this. Remember the ATF machine, the report? Yeah, you read it the wrong way. You're wrong about it wasn't this video, it was that video. No, it wasn't a Tuesday, it was a Wednesday. They don't do that. It's never the facts. It's always, how dare you? What's the matter with you? You hate Erica. You've got to. Here's my favorite. Natali, I'm not supposed to believe you or Clayton, because both of you are grifters. Translation: you have a show, and your show is very popular, and it makes money. And you were selling ads before. You were selling ads on the blood of Charlie Kirk. Wait a minute. I'm a news analysis show. Everybody, we're a news show. We sell ads. We're not doing this because we're missionaries. This is a capitalist venture. Everybody does it. Newspapers, television shows. These very people do this. But all of a sudden, somebody says, I've got a good idea. And let's overuse the word grift. Grift versus content. Grift, by the way, is the wrong term. But once something catches on, you're in. So that's the new thing. Candace is doing this. Now, here's the thing. This guy, okay, this Pickles Wilson comes out of nowhere.
I don't know the pickles joke. Can you explain
Because the pickle, did you see when he tried to open up a jar of pickles? Did you see that one?
No.
He's famous for this. He was sitting with a bunch of these OnlyFans gals, and there was a jar of pickles. I don't know why. I don't know who brought them out. Gherkins, dills, who knows? And they hand it, and he's trying to get the lid off. He goes, this is greasy. And somebody comes like this, and they open the pickle, and he couldn't get his. So anyway, I started calling him Pickles, and other people as well. That's what he will be known for the rest of his life. Not what he's saying, but that he couldn't, this big He-Man, this guy, who, by the way, was he in the military? I don't know. How long was he in the military? I don't know. I don't know these things. He's this mystery person. So anyway, he decides to come up all of a sudden, and he has the unmitigated gall to tell Candace that she's making money off of the horror that is Charlie Kirk. Well, guess what he did? He supposedly gave her $300,000 to make money off of the death.
I really want to see the 1099 at the end of the year when he has to send her a 1099 to report taxes on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll be so. They'll do one. I don't think there's a middle finger emoji. I don't think there's a Venmo. But anyway, but here's the thing. And then after this is a part after this guy who's got so much money. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you and Mr. Morris are doing quite well. But if either of you said, "Oh, by the way, honey, I offered this guy $300,000," what? Yeah, I don't care who you are. $300,000. You think his wife Rachel said, "That's it"? Wouldn't she take more? Okay, if that's all this show. So he decides to do this now. Immediately afterwards, he has a crowdfunding thing that says, "Can you help me pay this off?" What? Wait a minute. So we're going to help you? Well, this is expensive, making these veiled, this meaningless, baseless, insincere contribution. This is the most bizarre. So you gave her the money, but you didn't have it, or you want us to help pay you? What? I don't understand any of it. So anyway.
Well, also, I'd like to ask about this part, because he's insinuating, because we're talking about the evidence, that she's collecting evidence in bad faith. So the steakhouse receipt, he cannot verify, and she's very careful to say, I'm still reporting it. It's still being verified. And he's saying, because it's not 100%, you don't put it on the timeline. But have you ever seen a crime show? You put everything on the board to try to, and so he's saying, put nothing on the board except what the government tells you to put on the board. And I'm like, I hope that you never are committed enough to losing a friend and figuring out what happened to them, because everything goes on the board, and he's acting like, it's irresponsible for you to keep this timeline. She's like, it's mine. I can do whatever the hell I want. I can write in a notebook all kinds of crazy things. I'm allowed. I don't understand that. But there's
there is really a receipt of some sort. And she also has to realize that she is really kind of a journalist, and there are people who take her under some kind of a privileged confidential agreement. But that's not it. In terms of this, he also says something which was, here's the opposite. He said, I don't understand why the parents decide that they're not going to stand up and say, hey, we don't believe he did it or whatever. And Candace said, wait a minute. First of all, this is a preliminary hearing. And a little bit of background, why they didn't go to a grand jury and obviate the necessity of this, I have no idea. But anyway, he says, no, this is their son, and I'm sure the defense lawyers or others said, we don't want you at a preliminary hearing. And let me tell you something, Natali, you can bet the farm the judge will find probable cause. Translation, he probably did it. Especially when you have the son of the president showing up and saying, just say that we're watching. What was that about? For a preliminary hearing, Don Jr. shows up along with Erica, along with all these other people. So all this judge has to do is to find out, do we have enough evidence here to go to trial? I'll say this, yes. So that in mind, most probably, and Candace even said this, the defense lawyers are saying, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, now's not the time. We'll get your testimony later, but we don't want people to know exactly everything we're thinking, because this is our time. This is why most prosecutors hate preliminary hearings, because you're putting all this evidence ahead. You're putting it out there. This is free discovery. Let me further remind you, he hasn't even been charged yet. There hasn't even been an arraignment yet. This is all normally done ahead of time through a grand jury indictment, through non-death penalty types of cases. Normally it's done through an information indictment, whatever it is. So this is irregular. So to make my point, perhaps circuitously, while Candace was saying, no, you don't want to say this, yet he says, no, the parents should be speaking out to the world. Then she said the other day, also, I've got this part of the timeline, and he wants her to reveal this because not only he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand. He doesn't grasp the essence of what this is really about. He's there just somehow to, I don't think he prepared anything. I don't think he knew the facts of the case. I don't think anybody prepped him on it. I don't think he understood, here's what we're going to do, here are the charges. Anything. I don't think you needed somebody to say every single day there was something new. And not only that, the ancillary, this coterie of affiliates of hers, citizen social media types who have so much information, and they're put together. There was one that just came out today of somebody who redirected, rephrased, reshot the famous walkway, the stairwell walk of the purported, and it doesn't matter. There are people constantly going to recreate these sites. Let me give you another example that he doesn't know about. When they played the actual reports that day, just like if you go back and watch 9/11 as it was reported before they knew it was 9/11, you'll hear things you never heard before. Somebody said from CNN interviewed somebody who was doing some kind of construction work or something, and he said, yeah, some guy walked by who had long, stringy black hair. Guess who has long, stringy black hair? Lance. So that's like, wait a minute. That's another thing. Do you think that Pickles knows about that? No.
Well, no, I don't think he knows.
No.
The evidence he's not been told to know.
So you're saying, why do I think he's a patsy? How about the fact that a gentleman, a great investigator and lawyer himself, Baron Coleman, said that when Tyler turned himself in, he didn't turn himself in because he was going to plead guilty. They turned him in because they said, if you know what's good for you, you better turn yourself in because you're going to wake up one day with red dots all over you. Yeah. And he did. He didn't confess. They Mirandized him, and he said, I'm not going to confess. He just turned himself in. Okay. Roughly the Discord messages, the confessions, a lot of air quotes here.
Yes.
This was, according to some people, they said, Mr. Coleman in particular, they said this happened about an hour after he already was Mirandized. He's in custody. They took his phone, and there also is the belief that Lance had access to his account as well. What are these confessions? Number two, read the words themselves. Was it Rob O'Neill, the SEAL Team 6 sniper who dispatched Osama bin Laden, said that it sounded like somebody who knows English as a second language. ChatGPT, texting with commas, and this man, who seems barely vocal, was typing these letters, these confessions, and then in one particular case, Lance, this mysterious Lance, granted immunity, by the way, takes a picture of apparently a note, burns it, but has a picture ahead of time. So basically, he's burning evidence. He certainly could be looking at potential for accessory after the fact, or harboring a fugitive or destroying evidence. He's granted immunity. Shows up at the preliminary hearing, nobody can ask him a question. What about the Sixth Amendment confrontation clause? So I would say, patsy. If this doesn't seem to the rhetorician, to the master debater, big problems, I don't know what is. Normally, you don't see this. And I don't even know, nobody even knows if anybody even, listen to this, saw him there. He hasn't said a word. And he has a gun, by the way, which, of course, they can't link. Number two, this Mauser 98, they found dust in the barrel. Sounds like a Kansas song, the Dust in the Wind. They found that the particular safety switch could not have been activated because of this telescopic scope. There were dogs, gun detection dogs, that could smell a fish fart, but none of them found a gun that had just been fired. Not only that, this gun had to be taken apart, put down his pants, taken apart, not with a screwdriver, which he supposedly found, but with an Allen wrench. Then there was another round found on another building, and I've got this. Nobody, and then we're going to talk about the actual. How about this? Nobody's calling 911 after this. People are taking SD cards out.
Yeah.
This thing is like not. Here's my challenge. Show me one thing that anybody did. Show me one thing that says normal. And then people say, well, where in the hell does this Israeli thing? Bibi, so they say, the first thing he said was, we didn't do it.
Right.
Nobody. So how much do you want me to go on?
It's so predictable that people would be grouping up around a don't question the narrative. And all of these people have loyalty to, to a pro-Zionist. It's predictable, and I don't quite understand it. And so what do you make of these? I read his wife's book, Rachel Wilson, and she's been on the show, and I quite liked her premise that feminism was a CIA plot and was never an organic grassroots movement. And I appreciated that. And it's very pro-family, pro-marriage. And so I didn't know who Andrew Wilson was until I started watching this debate. And I was like, this is the guy that you're, and so I'm very confused. And I'm like, why are you, why are you doing this? Like, why are you questioning the questioners? I'm just so confused. Like, who is this group of people? Why would they stake their reputation on this?
Let me say something, too. I'm telling you what everybody is saying. Whether you agree with this or not, whether Zionist, Israel, MAGA, CIA, or remember, right before this, Charlie was saying something like, I'm going to do a Doge-type review of the monies here of TPUSA. Where's all this money going? All these jets and who's making what? And what happens? Remember when JFK says, I'm going to break split the CIA into 1,000 pieces? You know what happened to him?
Yeah,
so there's a lot there's a lot of areas of interest. So what I'm saying is, so these people, if you sat down with Pickles, the debate, or any of the other aforementioned people who are pretty smart guys, they would say, wow, you know what? I didn't know about this. You think they would say, now, I'm going to wait a little bit. I've got my reputation to think about. But this case, if 10% of this is true, it stinks. I don't want to get into this because I don't want to be to the point where whenever the government says something, I immediately take the default position that they're lying. But Natali, how many times?
I'm there.
How many times do you have to be fooled? I at least listen. Remember the Luigi? Let me give you an example. You know the Luigi Mangione case? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no. That's it. There's no. Maybe. No, he killed him. That's it. I don't do this every time there's a murder. It's like, no, they didn't set him up. That's him. It's his gun. He did it. 99% of all murders are pretty much like this. Every now and then we get this guy. But not only that, we get the most powerful, popular person in the history. Natali, do you remember how people were just bereft when he died? People that I knew, I couldn't believe how many people listened to him every single day. They couldn't sleep. He was one of the most powerful people of all time. And lo and behold, he's hit. And he's also hit in one of the strangest ways, where he's hit with this little hole. He falls like this. And everybody will tell you, from Rob O'Neill to anybody, if you're hit with this, I don't want to call it an elephant gun, but this 30-06. Did you hear, by the way, the expert say that because he's a gunsmith or something, that some frangible bullets can break apart in midair? That's in a millisecond. They just fall apart. I mean, what are you making this up? But
yes,
this
they are. Yes.
He does this.
I think that's the answer, right?
You hear this noise? It goes like that. No exit wound, no nothing. And somebody says, quick, get the SD cards. Get them. Hello? And Ben Shapiro, where is he now? Why are you calling? What is going on here?
Well,
now,
right.
I don't know. I'm not blaming anybody. But when nobody's, let me ask you this. God forbid, if something happened to your beloved husband, that great Clayton, what if somebody said to you, listen, Natali, I'm not so sure about this. What? You, being somebody in the business, knowing that, well, he's been around, let me hear what you have to say. Not Erica. Nope. I don't want to hear it. Not interested. That's another thing. None of this. Most people say, you better get to the bottom of this. I am not going to sleep. I can't go out in public. I can't. Remember the woman whose daughter was stabbed? The Ukrainian girl, she was stabbed by that animal who stabbed her in that train. Her mother appeared. Remember, they were sitting together. Her mother and Erica at State of the Union. Her mother looked like the 1,000-yard stare. And then we have Erica. She's just everything about her from the pageant. Another thing, too, is I'm not saying she did anything. I'm not saying she's responsible. But each character, each person is weirder than the other. The TPS, from Blake to this. Then, but wait, as we say at QVC, but wait, there's more. Now come these brigades of influencers, one more preposterous than the other, who never talk about the evidence, but talk about how nuts Candace is. And I'm thinking, have I convinced? If anybody's watching this for the first time, text us, will you? Did you know half of this? Do you just want to say, wait a minute? As we say in the South, that dog don't hunt. And you mean to tell me the best they can come up with after everything I've told you is that Candace is crazy? Does she make this up? No, she's reporting it. And I'm not going to, I want to debate. I only talk to one person. You, young lady, that's it.
Well,
Period.
thank you. I am flattered. I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry to chime in, but like, so if I believe in something, and I'm going to come on this show and I'm going to debate Lionel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare arguments that back up my belief. I'm not going to prepare arguments that prove Lionel wrong. That just means I'm here to win an argument, not a debate. If I'm just going to embarrass Lionel, so I'm just going to bring these clips like evidence for my own point. Like I don't actually believe it, then, do I?
Right. You could tell that the debate strategy was a disdain for her and less about the substance.
Precisely. And another thing, too, is if you're going to do it, listen, I'm not going to tell anybody how to do this. But if I, God forbid, were the person debating, Candace, the first thing I would do is I would start off as I would say, always soften them up. I would say something to the effect of, I understand what you've done, and you've been terrific, and I know how close you and Charlie were, and this must be awful, and I don't even, but first of all, my condolences, this was your best friend, and I know that, but here's see what I've done? So I just bring it down. Yeah. This guy comes out blazing by reading off of his phone. Yeah. Remember that one, the best of enemies?
And again, stating his intention to back up the state's case and because she needs to be put in her place to stop this. Yeah. And so
not justice. Not justice for Charlie.
Oh, no.
He has nothing to do with it. No, nothing to do with it.
I don't think that was mentioned. No, you're right. No.
And honestly, let me tell you something. The question is, they are going to try to, his picture is going to be on the side of a milk carton before you realize it, because TPUSA and everybody involved in this is going to say, lose this guy. That's why. Why do you think? Now do you know why Candace said, I'm going to do this, but I want TPUSA to endorse or ratify his opinion. He's with you, right? What did they say? Oh, no way. Now you know why. Yeah. You think, and this is the guy, they say, according to him, this is the guy that they hired to teach him how to debate. He's going to get his money back from that. Who is he? I mean, this is tomorrow. I'm going to tomorrow. I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. I'm going to be a neurosurgeon because Natali, during COVID, everybody was a virologist. As you know, everybody has an internet law degree. Everybody's read the Constitution. Everybody knows about the Bible and history. Tolstoy said history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. These people just think I can say whatever I want because I'm just imbued with this channel, this pipeline to everything, because I say so. It's true. Ipsy Dixit. It's true because I say it's true. And the last thing this world needs is more debates. You want to do a discussion? That's great, but a debate? They're not debates.
There's lessons to be learned here about ego and respect, and because it was shown in the inverse that, a bad representation of ego and a lack of respect, and you could tell at the end, she did not present a closing statement. She just said, thank you for coming here in good faith. Yeah. And
closing
so that is
statement.
That is very disarming. I wouldn't hire him for debate prep.
And also, I want you to listen. Go back and listen to what he said to some of those OnlyFans girls. Look, listen, I'm not crazy about OnlyFans. It doesn't really matter. But some of the stuff he said about them, I'm not going to repeat the words he said, but it sounded like this petulant little, like a 13-year-old kid who's off his medication. Mean, angry, troubled, having a tantrum, and just being upset. Not that somebody defiled his wife, but that somebody caught him off guard. And he's calling it, and these young ladies were just so cool. And he was they talked about her sexuality. And let me tell you something also. I'm no expert. I'm not a psychiatrist. Don't play one on TV. But if this guy doesn't have issues with women, nobody does. This guy doesn't. Telling his wife to shut up. All women are retarded. All women are retarded. And he seems to only want to debate young girls on only. I just don't.
Right. Her book is anti-feminist. It's against the feminist movement. And I'm like, but then I want to go back to feminism if I have to then be married to this guy. You know what I mean?
Precisely.
And so we're saying that, and I don't know, maybe they have a fantastic marriage, but He says he thinks all women are retarded. He was incredibly dickish when he was embarrassed, and he lacks humility. And so maybe he is a great husband, but I have a hard time envisioning that this is the woman that now we should listen to for an empowered version of womanhood. And I'm very sad about that. But, you know, many times I've found people who I quite liked and then realize, oh, there's a thread here that's less respectful. Respectable. Oh, no. And, you know, that's just something we have to deal with when it comes to the age of online influencers.
Well, what you just said would have made no import to him whatsoever. And then I don't want to play an expert, but this guy's got steamer trunk emotional baggage. I don't know what his story is, but right off the bat, can you imagine saying women are retarded and then laughing at it? I just... To be so deluded, so impressed with your own perceived self-importance, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I guess I should admit that I sometimes say men are bullshit, you know, but I don't mean it as in, like, just they put us through a lot. Is that the same?
I think sometimes in the heat of battle, we've all said some things.
Right.
But that's not been your
But I don't think all men are bullshit. I think
but that's not
what we have to go through with men are bullshit.
Well, yeah, but that's not your...
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not your premise. That might be just an ancillary aside, so to speak, in any event.
Okay. Yes, I'm not anti-men in any form or fashion.
Let the record reflect. Indeed.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's leave it there. You are not bullshit.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm trying not to be bullshit. I come here in good faith, and I appreciate your time.
I think you've acquitted yourself quite handsomely. Thank you so much. We will talk again, fair lady. Thank you.
All right. The rest of us, you're staying for me to say goodbye.